Welcome back to the 10th edition of the Brotherly Love Ball podcast. I'm Christopher Colman here with Theo Kuchar, and as we look towards the start of the Union season in 2 weeks, we will begin looking at a preseason preview for the team, looking into the depth chart, starting 11, and how we think the team will do. So we'll just get right into it. At goalkeeper, at the top of the depth chart, we've definitely got Andre Blake here. He had a really good season last year. He didn't get as much time due to injury and being out with Jamaica, but when he's in, he's one of the best goalkeepers in the league. He played 25 games last year, and he actually conceded less goals than games played, which not a lot of keepers do that.
Yeah, he did pretty good last year, I think, especially battling injuries the whole way through. I think we'll see him again. I think he'll keep his starting spot. But we do have Rick behind him, who's looking pretty good. Overall, though, I think Andre Blake will keep that spot as long as he doesn't get injured. That's just a worry, though, especially with how many games we're going to have to play this year with the CONCACAF Champions League, Champions Cup now, and the Open Cup maybe, or no, Leagues Cup, because we qualified too high. But overall, I think he should be a good starter, another contender for one of the better goalkeepers in the league right now. And then, yeah, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much you hit it all. Rick is a great backup anyways, but Blake still looks like he's the first choice option, and he still has a couple more years in him, I think. But even if he doesn't, Rick is a great successor. And looking into Rick, probably the best backup in the league for me. When he plays, he's great. Probably the best goalkeeper. He's so athletic, his agility. He's like a cat, honestly. And he'll be the perfect successor for Andre Blake once Blake moves on.
Yeah, he's the backup here at the Union, but I think there are some teams that honestly would take him as a starter. He's a really good goalkeeper, and I think we've seen that in the games he's played last year and even the year before. So I'm really looking forward to see if he – well, I don't really want to see him play because that means Blake's injured. But it is nice to see him play because he is a good keeper, and he's young. So start another dynasty goalkeeper kind of, having Blake for that long straight from the draft.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he could probably start on half the teams in the league, I bet. I mean, he's really good goalkeeper, and I think he really embodies like the Philly spirit, the Philly pride. You know, he wears number 76 for 1776. So
yeah, totally.
He's a really great guy. He's
76.
Yeah, great guy. And then only 3 goalkeepers they're carrying this year. Last one is George Marks, and he should get a lot of time on Union too. So this is good for him. They re-signed him. He was obviously behind Oliver Zemla last year, and I think he'll get a lot of minutes on Union too, and he might even jump up to the first team if Rick or Blake gets injured.
Yeah, seeing he's going to get a lot of minutes. It'll help him grow, I think. I don't think he plays this year unless, obviously, we get hit by a bunch of injuries. But he should grow a bunch, and I'm excited to see him play in coming years probably because he will probably fill in the backup role once Blake leaves, if he does anytime soon. Or he might leave. I don't know. Wherever he's going to play, he'll probably go, seeing as he's in that third string right now. But he will grow a lot on the Union too, and I think we can look forward to that.
Totally. And then looking on to the defenders, we'll start at right back. I think for me, Nathan Harriel is still at the top here, despite Frankie Westfield coming off of a great season. Harriel can play center back too. He's a really strong option at right back. He's more defensive, I would say. Going forward, not as strong, but such a solid right back, probably one of the best in the league. I think he still has a chance to get that call up for the World Cup. I'm really pushing for him. If he has a good start to the campaign this year, I'd love to see him on that USA team.
Yeah, he's a great defender. I think he will get a lot more playing outside now that Wagner's gone. It'll be him and Westfield, I think, are the front runners right now, out wide, along with Bizo, too. But I think he's really good on set pieces, too, which is why I like having him up there, because he's really good. He can head the ball well when the ball gets put towards him. So I think it's good to keep him out there. But he's also going to have to compete with Frankie, probably, even though he can probably play on both sides. We'll get to see. They're both still somewhat young. They're good. They're homegrowns. I like to see him play. And then just outside of that, do you have anything else on Frankie?
Not much more on Frankie. Like you said, he can play on both sides. He's versatile. He looked really good last year, so I'm pretty good about him, yeah.
Yeah, good service into the box, too, along with we'll miss Wagner doing that, but hopefully he can get up some good service out there. But then we also have Bizo on the outside. Good depth back there. he's got great experience, and I think he will be getting a lot of minutes. The three of them will probably rotate those outside spots until Carnell can figure out who he really wants up there. But I mean, it's too early to call now. I think we will really get a sense of that once preseason wraps up, and looking forward to finding out who will play.
Yeah, I mean, Bizo's a weird case for me because he's coming off 2022. He played pretty much the entire season. 23 as well. He's played a lot, and then out of nowhere, the past 2 years, he really hasn't gotten that playing time. Especially last year, he barely played at all, which was really odd. I don't think he looked the best when he was out there, but it's hard to go out there having not played for a whole year. Like psychologically and physically, you can't just get back into it. I really wish he got more time. He's really great going forward. So I think he should get more minutes, like you said, with 3 competitions and less fullback depth. But I've heard he's a great guy around the club as well, in the clubhouse. He's taking guys in. He's rooming with, I believe, McHugh. So he's just a great guy, and I hope to see him get more time here because he has looked good when he's in that like flow state, you know.
Yeah, it is a bit odd because he went from playing a lot, and they slowly scaled back his minutes instead of building them up, which you usually see. And we know beginning of last season, I believe, he did want to transfer for a little bit, especially seeing because I think the reason was they couldn't get his family in due to visa issues, which that is a big problem, especially seeing as how long he'd been there. You'd think they'd get that done. But he wanted to transfer for a little bit. He also wasn't getting the minutes he wanted that he had been getting. So I really think this is a good year for him to try to get back into his spot because a lot of games, like you said, a lot of opportunities for minutes, and there is some good competition there. I think that'll really help him grow and get back into his groove.
Yeah, totally. And then looking into center back, much lighter, about the same in depth here as last year, pretty thin. McHugh is obviously the first choice option here. He's coming off one of the best, maybe the best defender rookie campaign I've ever seen in the MLS. And for me, he was easily robbed of Defender of the Year. I honestly don't know how Glesnes was in that top 3 with him. I thought it should have just been Tristan Blackman and McHugh, and I thought McHugh was the better player. If you analyze like everything he did for the club, coming out of nowhere, nobody even knew he would get minutes. We thought he was going to be leaving next year, having only been with Union 2. For me, he's one of the best defenders in the league already, and he's primed for that move to Europe. But assuming he stays for this season, I think we're going to see another great year out of him, even more development, and hopefully another really strong defense.
Yeah, last year we saw a bunch from him. I think a lot of play. I don't know if he's one of the best yet. I'm a little more skeptical about him. I don't trust him yet because there were a couple moments that I didn't really like out of him. But yeah, like you said, Glesnes, he was a bit shaky last year, which shook up the center back positions. But honestly, if he does play again as well as he did this year, I think he could make a case for one of the better defenders in the league. But a lot of potential there still to play. And we know how he's going to play. He played last year, and with all our center backs now, you don't know that. We sold all our most of our defenders away, so it's a new open room for him. He's probably the top of the list coming into preseason. He was, but we do have some additions, starting with Sari Larson. He's most likely to probably start, I would think, coming over from Europe. But yeah, hopefully he has the leadership that we lost over Kai Wagner and Glesnes. But yeah, what do you expect to see out of him?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit them all. He's coming over from SK Braun over in Europe in the Nordic region, and Carnell has basically said we hope to see him become that Glesnes type player, a really good player, as well as that clubhouse, that leadership that we saw from Glesnes. And again, he's a defender coming from that area where Glesnes came from. He's about 6'2", I believe, and fee was around 1.5 to 1.75 million. So I think this is a great deal. Assuming this works out, this would be a great deal for the Union if you can get a guy like Glesnes who stays with the club for 5+ years and really just puts his heart into everything. So I think this is a great move. Like you said, I think he'll be that second starter, but there's so much unknown around the center back position. We've got so many other options that really have little known about them. Mm-hmm. So besides training and these few friendlies that we've had recently, there's not a lot to see from them. Another signing, Finn Sundstrom from North Carolina Courage via a waiver wire acquisition from DC United. He's only 19. He's a center back. He can play pretty much anywhere on the pitch, Carnell has said. He said center back, right back, left back, attacking mid, defensive mid. He can go anywhere. So this is a great signing for the Union. All they gave up was a draft pick, which is fine because Union doesn't typically go use their draft picks. So this is going to be a great option at center back. So many games. You can rotate the three. You can play him at left back as well. I think this is a great move.
Yeah, I think a lot of potential can come out of him. Like you said, he can play pretty much anywhere. I really like to see the preseason footage. They don't let it out though so far, at least from Marbella in Spain. We saw a few clips on their Instagram page, but that was pretty much it. We just saw final scores, who scored, so you can't really tell too much about the defenders. But he sounds promising, and definitely looking forward to see what he can do, especially with Sari Larson. But I think there will be some competition, like with pretty much any spot this year. A lot of new signings. They're going to compete, and hopefully that gets the best out of them.
Yeah, and then one last signing, or one of the last signings that came in this week was Gainer Martinez, who we had talked about nearly 2 months ago. And then he was never confirmed as a transfer until this week. So he was made official, estimated fee around $425K. He's a Colombian center back. He's 22. He's coming from Uruguay. And this is a guy we really have not a lot known about him. He played 34 matches last year. Besides that, he's 6'2", so he's on the bigger side, but he's not extremely big. Like I said, the role is unclear. I wouldn't be surprised if he bounces Union 2 to Union back and forth just because they don't really know much about him.
Yeah, especially because he came in late. Wasn't there for all preseason. I don't think he'll start right off the bat or get too many minutes. Maybe they'll put him with the U2 to start. We'll probably see him more a couple weeks into the season, hopefully. A lot of hope around him, though, because he is a big center back, and we do need to fill that spot. But, yeah, outside of that, we got Caden Moore on loan from Atlanta. We probably won't see him, though, probably playing with the U2 just to develop him. But who knows, maybe he'll have a breakout moment, and they'll bring him up for a game or two.
Yeah, totally. Just a loan move, like you said, and I don't think we'll see him. He's on the younger side. If he gets good minutes with the Union 2, which I would have to assume he does, especially with Neil Pierre getting loaned out, he might have a breakout season. Unclear if it's a loan to buy or just a loan. Hopefully it's to buy, and they see what they like out of him, and they go ahead and purchase him. Rounding out the defense at left back, this is the thinnest position easily on the club. You know, you sell Kai Wagner, and now you have no left back. So at the moment, we'll assume that Frankie Westfield will be playing here. Like we said earlier, he had a great season last year. Breakout year. He's good going forward. Defensively, he's pretty good as well. And he's versatile, so he can play either side.
Yeah, Nate and Frankie, I think they can both switch around both sides. Him and then Ben Bender, of course, like we saw. We want to see more minutes out of him, just anywhere he can play, left back, wings, midfield, anywhere, up in attack maybe, anywhere. Finn Sundstrom, of course, that we picked up. He could play back there, fill in the spots. It's all about depth, too, seeing how many games we have. But we'll see how they fill that spot, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you can't imagine that they're only going to run with these guys at left back because you've got to sign a true left back. Unclear when, and if you sign a left back now, he's missed out on preseason. First game is in 12 days, which is crazy. So I would assume that Westfield will start the season here, but who knows? You know, we've got a couple more friendlies, and then we're already into it going down to Trinidad. So, yeah. And then starting off the midfield at CDM, we've got Danley Jean-Jacques, who he's been a great signing. You know, he came in right following the Jose Martinez transfer about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And initially it was really hard to decipher how he played in that half season when he was here. He had his ups, he had his downs. And then last season was just unbelievable for me. He played so well, held down the midfield. He was rock solid, and I think he complements really well with Jovan Lukic.
Yeah, I definitely take Jose Martinez over him any day of the week, of course. But he's a really good player. I really like how he plays in the midfield. I think the only difference is their aggression. I think Jose always just had his heart on his sleeve, and I think that's what really stuck out to us. But he's a really good midfielder, and he definitely complements Jovan really well. And going on to Jovan, I really loved how he played last year. I really hope he keeps playing that form, just energetic, moving the ball around, taking shots when he has them. It's great to watch, and I really hope he keeps that up. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Lukic comes in last year on a really inexpensive fee. 50K we heard. I think it must have been more, maybe in the hundreds of thousands. But he comes in, little is known about him. He gets that start on the first match day, looks great, and then just from there, it just kept getting better. He scored against New England, that beautiful goal, that one Union goal of the season, as well as the goal against Nashville at home. Like you said, he's great on the attack, great on the defense. He's actually pretty versatile. I wouldn't be surprised he might get some time at left back too, just moving guys around, seeing where they can play. He'll definitely start next to Danley though for me, and hopefully another great season out of him. And then the last defensive mid here pretty much is Jesus Bueno, who he's had his ups and downs, no doubt. We've seen him play like the next Martinez, and then we've seen him play not as well. So he'll get a lot more time this year with so many more games and a relatively thin squad, as well as a position where you've got two guys starting and there's only three of them.
Yeah, he definitely had his ups and downs. I think he's got his spots in the penalty shootouts. Of course, he's able to convert. Just some of the spots, like sometimes he holds on to the ball too long. Sometimes he turns and releases the ball too quick. It's just a bit shaky, and he's a lot hit or miss most days. But hopefully he can lock down, get in form with all these games coming this season.
Yeah, and then in the midfield, before we get to attacking mid, we've got like two guys for me that can pretty much play anywhere on the field, and it's Bedoya and Raffanello. I don't think we'll see a lot of Bedoya this year. He's obviously getting older. He had some questionable performances last year, but overall, I think when you're stepping up, it's hard to go into a role like right back and play against, Vancouver on an away day at midweek against one of the best teams in the country. So, or in the league, I guess. Raffanello, we haven't seen as much of him as we thought we would. I think 2-3 years ago, he was rising up the ranks, and we thought, all right, this guy, he might get a lot of minutes. And then it's kind of reduced over the past 2 years. But then last year, we saw him a little bit more in Open Cup especially. He's played pretty much anywhere, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him again. Defensive mid, I don't know, even though he came out as a striker attacking mid, that position. So hopefully more minutes for Raffanello especially this year, which he probably will with so many competitions.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot more of him last year. Like you said, we thought he was going to get up there quicker. Just took him a little bit longer than we expected. But he is getting more minutes. I'm excited to see where they play him this year. He can play pretty much anywhere. And then Bedoya, of course, he's getting a little older. Keep him in the squad just for some depth. He's still a quality player on his day. I would keep him in the midfield because last year we did play him at right back a couple of times and it was a little harsh on him. But overall, he's still a solid player. You can put him in the midfield, especially like if you need to sub 70 minutes in. He's a great player to bring on, especially getting the team going. Tight game, get him over the line. So I really look forward to seeing him continue to play.
Yeah, totally. And like you said, he's that guy where he comes in for the last 20 minutes, he holds it down. He's the best leader we have. I'm sure he'll be in the Ring of Honor, and he's helped around the clubhouse or around the like with the transfers we've heard. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on and takes a coaching role soon. So good from him, and another year, hopefully he'll get that cup that he's been chasing for so many years. And then looking into attacking mid, this is a position where last year we were really strong in, I thought. It was probably our strongest position with great depth, guys who, for me, any of them could have started. So Ilowski obviously comes in from San Diego last year around the mid-season, and he's just, what more could you ask for? I mean, he was what pushed us over the top to win the Shield for me.
Yeah, if he was there all season, I would have him as my favorite attacker for the whole year. But he can play anywhere. He can play in the midfield or up top at striker. Great season. If he continues those numbers, it would just be insane. But, I mean, honestly, he connects well in the midfield, and he can finish up top too, which is really impressive. It's great to see. And then, of course, you've got Vasilev that you can compliment off of, that played a lot last year. And honestly, just if you just have the two of them out there, it's a really good squad. They can tear through most teams in the midfield, get it up top, get it to the strikers, and I think that's what they're really efficient with especially the start of the season when even before Orlovsky got there with Vasilev, just getting the ball up and just farming tap-ins essentially off Baribo, getting the ball wide, getting Wagner up the field, and just farming goals like that. And I mean, you don't have Baribo, you don't have Kai, but you do have Orlovsky now, and you have some new additions, and hopefully they can fill in the same way, and we can see that productivity.
Yeah, totally. And like you said with Vasilev, he complements off of Orlovsky perfectly, where we'll see Orlovsky start the game as the left attacking mid and Vasilev as the right attacking mid, so they can both get that cut-in shot where we've seen so many goals come from that. But then midway through, they can switch it up. Orlovsky on the right, Vasilev on the left. Vasilev down the line, putting in a cross for the strikers. So much out of the two of them, and they're just really, for me, Vasilev is honestly one of the most likable guys. He's one of the hardest workers out there, and he's just a great guy, I think. Not much more to it than that. And then behind them on the depth chart for me is actually Kevin Sullivan as that third option. It's a thinner position this year. Obviously, Quinn is out injured for most of the year. We wouldn't be surprised to see with that ACL, even though he's recovering well. But Kevin, I think he's going to have another great season, even more minutes this year. I wouldn't be surprised to see some starts, way more games. And we've heard he's just developing overall really well physically as getting bigger and just being a better player.
Yeah, definitely. Coming out of last season, even you could tell he grew a bunch. You saw him come on the field. He was a lot taller. He was closer in size to some of the guys out there, so he won't get knocked around as much. But I think we will definitely see a lot more minutes from him. He'll get that experience in. Really looking forward to that because he's been a really good player on the field. He's just missed that last chance. Like, he's gotten shots off. He's worked the ball really well through the field. And I really want to see that keep going, especially with these new additions. See what they can help with that. And hopefully he'll get his goal this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to get that open play Union goal this year, like you said. It'll be interesting to see when Quinn comes back, what you do with the formation, maybe switching around, but we can look more into that later. So going into striker, this is hard to say who's at the top of the depth chart for me. I think it could be Aladu. You know, we've heard great things about him, and I expect great things, and I think he's going to be really good. He's big, strong, fast, and I think he provides a little bit of Ua and Baribo, kind of what they complemented so well off of each other, and I think he can be both. But then Damiani, he closed out the season really, really well. He started off pretty slow. I honestly thought he wasn't going to be the one. It wasn't looking as good as we expected, and then he really heated up at the end of the year.
Yeah, he got that goal against Cincinnati in the home opener, and then he kind of cooled off for a little bit. Definitely woke back up towards the end of the season. Hopefully he continues that form because I really don't like seeing when he's not productive up there. Looks like he's just sitting up there, just wasting a little bit of space. But when he's having a good day, he looks incredible up there. That goal against Cincinnati away, that was really good. I really liked the goal he had at home against them in the beginning of the season. So when he's in form, he's a really good striker, and I'm really looking forward to him doing that again.
Yeah, and the other thing with him is when he loses the ball, you're going 50-50, but most of the times he's going back and tracking back, winning that ball back. He wants it more than the next guy. Obviously, you don't like seeing him lose the ball and not track back, but we don't see that a lot anymore.
No.
His attitude overall, I think, has changed a lot. So when he's effective, he's one of the best up there. And if we can find him service the way Wagner was getting Baribo service last year, I think he's going to be really good. And this year they won't be looking like we got to get the ball to Baribo. Yeah. This year it'll be, can we get it to Damiani or Aladu? So I think it'll be great from the two of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see them pair off of each other to start the season. Even though Stas Korzeniowski, I think this is going to be our breakout player of the year. He had a great season at Union 2, coming from the draft from Penn. We don't usually draft guys, but he got drafted. He had a great season, signed a first-team contract after scoring 2 weeks ago in Marabella. So I think this is going to be the guy for us. He's going to be that guy coming off the bench. He should be the third option, and I think the future's really bright for him.
Yeah, I think, honestly, Marcus Anderson, of course, there's rumors about him with the loan. If he stays, I think the two of them will compete for that third spot because Anderson, he looked really good last year. He got that goal against the LA Galaxy, I think 3-2. Charlotte too, yeah. A really impressive season, I think, from him. I didn't really see him coming up. But he's fast. He's good at putting the ball in the back of the net, which is what we need to see up top. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the two of them coming out if Anderson doesn't get loaned away. I think we should be in for a good season from both of them. They are there. and available.
Yeah, definitely. When we've seen Anderson play, I thought he's been pretty good. He started last season maybe not as good, but then with that goal against Charlotte, obviously, that was one of his only opportunities with the first team, but he converted, and that was a big goal. It propelled us to win the. If you look overall, it's why we won the Supporters' Shield. So it was huge from him. And then looking farther down, Sal Olivas and Eddie Davis, I don't see them getting first team minutes again this year because of the 3, maybe 4 if Anderson stays. Those 4 just being so much better. I don't know how better to put it. But I think Olivas and Davis, their time with the Union 2, it can only last so long. They're prone to coming up, I think, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe at the end of the year or definitely next year getting real first team minutes with the club. Or maybe even throughout the season in games, we've got random CCC games or Leagues Cup games.
Yeah, I think it all will hinge on whether Anderson gets that loan or not. But honestly, I have Eddie Davis higher up on my chart right now. I mean, we saw him come in. He played in that friendly against Atlas last year. He's really quick. I really like seeing him play. We didn't see that much of him, though. If he just gets more minutes, I think we can get a better view and have a better scope for him, what he's going to do. But I really look forward to seeing him. Maybe he comes up. Hopefully he'll grow some more on the Union too. Next season, he'll get minutes probably if he develops well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how he'll grow because he's a good, quick striker.
Yeah, totally. And that really wraps up the depth chart overall. I think there's not much more to it. I don't see other guys coming up from Union 2, but then we look into the starting 11. So for me, I think the projected starting lineup will go with that 4-2-2-2, 4-2-2-2 with Blake in goal. I think Nathan Harriel starts as the right back with Westfield as the left back, Sari Larson and McHugh as the center backs, Lukic and Danley as the defensive mids, and then the attacking mids, again, Iloski and Vasilov. They can go either side for me, and then Aladou and Damiani up top.
Yeah, a pretty strong lineup, I think. It all depends on if Carnell keeps playing the same intensity they did last year. Kind of like just chaotic, kind of keep it chaotic. But we don't know. At his last job at St. Louis, we know he kept the same format for his second year after winning the Western Conference in the regular season. Didn't really work well, and they finished pretty low. He got sacked. Hopefully, if he does keep the same things, it works out because I want to keep them playing that formation and their play style because it was really fun to watch. But we'll see if he changes it up at all. But yeah, this is a pretty good lineup. I think they will play well, either if they keep the same one or just try to go playmaking up top instead of just knocking the ball in out wide, getting chances. But we'll see when the season comes around.
I mean, I think the format, it'll work out if it's not too readable for other teams. And my big wonder is when Quinn Sullivan comes back, what do you do with looking forward? Because for me, Vasilov he has to start on this team, I think. Maybe you shift into a 4-1-3-2 with Danley as a holding defensive mid all alone, and then 3 attacking mids and 2 strikers. But that is pretty attacking. Or maybe you go 4-2-3-1 and only leave 1 striker. Yeah. I think it can go either way.
Or you could push up. Iloski, we know, can play up top. If Damiani or something isn't producing, maybe you push Iloski up top, let him get minutes up there, and put Quinn in the midfield. Because that could always work out, especially if you put him up there just to distribute the ball around up top. Kind of like a false 9, I guess. Just drop him up top and let him lay the ball off.
Yeah, and I mean, through that, them pretty much, no position here, no guy is safe here. No one has a guaranteed role. I mean, any of these guys can get switched out depending on how players play. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. And we actually have a friendly tomorrow against Tampa Bay Rowdies that will be streamed on the website at 6. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up. I would assume everyone still gets to play, but it'll be exciting to see. And then kind of just to close it out, any season predictions, we have CCC, MLS, and Leagues Cup this year.
Yeah, I think the CONCACAF Cup, I mean, it's difficult to say because we have Defense Force in the first round. The 2 right next to you is Club America, and they're playing Olympia, I think it is. It was a tie last game. I mean, you never know now. A tie. I really thought Club America was going to walk through there. If we face Club America, that's going to be a really difficult game, I think. That will definitely limit how they do. I think just being stuck on this end of the bracket, I don't have too high expectations, especially with the new team coming in. But I think they definitely get past the first round, and then it all just depends on who else comes through in the other groups.
Yeah, totally. I think, like you said, Club America's like an impossible task. I wouldn't expect much out of it if we don't go through and go play them. So yeah, and then in the MLS, I think maybe a mid playoff seed 4 or 5. It's really hard to tell. And then Leagues Cup also just probably. I don't think we go for Leagues Cup. I don't think it makes sense. It's such a tough tournament in the middle of the summer, like right in the middle of the season. I wouldn't prioritize that. So I would just say MLS is the main focus here.
Yeah, I would say focus on the league. I'm gonna say right now probably around a 6. I think they finish around the 6. I think they make the playoffs, not at home, but I think they do get in the playoffs with this squad. But yeah, I'll say 6 for that, and then Leagues Cup. Do you really care about it? I mean, it's
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap us up for today. Thank you all for watching. I'm Christopher Colman here with Theo Kuchar, Cristiano Forcino on the production. And we'll be back next weekend to wrap everything up before the first week of Union play. Thank you for watching.